You're watching Basement
Good evening, folks. It's Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. It's a little late, but it's Friday night. We're going to get funky. Good evening, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. It's Basement Politics Unfiltered. Happy Friday, TGIF. It's late, but it's Friday. I got my Popeyes. No, it's not Chick-fil-A. I know some people are very excited about the Chick-fil-A that's going to be opening up on Central Avenue. They have a bulldozer on the site, so they're going to be breaking ground soon. So for all you guys who are happy about that, because we know that the people who live right next to it are not excited about it. They're concerned of all the traffic that it's going to bring. And you guys can kind of fight that. There's a way there. There's a will. There's a way. Anyway, folks, I want to just go over a few things. But one of the things I want to definitely talk about is the guy that got arrested. Oh, no, he didn't get arrested. He got caught. That's right. He got caught trying to have sex with a 14-year-old or what he thought to be a 14-year-old girl. This man is getting his karma. He worked at one point for Mike Cater in City Hall when he was a city council president. He was also involved in throwing Mike Cater under the bus. He created some lie to go along with the email that was sent to Mike Cater in regards to a hostile work environment. But that was a lie. That was all a setup. And so now this man went up to the county board where he got a job as a legislative aide, and that probably was a favor, a payback for what he did to Mike Cater, and that's where he's at currently. But he's busted. Busted. Check this guy out. Anybody know this man?
What are you gonna bring tomorrow?
I can bring some toy, the plan B.
What did you want me to wear?
Let's see what you think that you have. I'll see you in a bit, baby girl.
I'm gonna have a conversation with you. Why do you smell like alcohol? Who are you here to meet? Why did you get with the little girl? Right here. Is this not you?
Out of there.
You can't be doing this.
The pedophile is gone. He took off. That's like To Catch a Predator. I don't know if you've seen that show that was on TV and may still be on TV. So now we have amateur To Catch a Predator, YouTube guys. I don't want to call them amateurs, they're doing their thing. And they caught this guy. Just like a Yonkers fireman was caught not too long ago, well, maybe about a year or so ago, 2021. He was caught by a YouTuber who was also doing another one of these To Catch a Predator people in Atlantic City trying to have sex with an underage girl. He was busted. He was upset. He was concerned. Unlike this guy, which I don't know if he's smarter, but at least he didn't stay. The fireman stayed and talked to the people on camera and everything and pretty much gave it all up. He was fired right away. However, I hear that this gentleman is still with his job and has not been arrested, although he was attempting to have sex with a 14-year-old girl. What's going on? What's with all the pedophile? And, whoever the individual is, and maybe I know them, but I don't know exactly who it is that's sending me the emails, giving me information and stuff. They're going deep. They're going back, way back into Yonkers history, showing me, detailing the history of pedophilia and sex crimes within among prominent men here in the city of Yonkers. Officials, doctors, whose some family members are still around today in our government. It's very strange, very crazy, very scary. But yeah, there's a huge connection here. I want to show you some of the text messages that he left what he thought was a 14-year-old girl.
Talk about his name being short for anonymous. He tells her she's cute. Mind you guys, at this point, he doesn't know that she's 14 years old. We ask him, what do you do? He tells the decoy He works for the government. He basically helps bills become laws. We passed one protecting Planned Parenthoods from protests this year. He starts talking about it can become hella stressful. At this point, my decoy's asking him, do you like younger girls? Because it's very obvious that she's a younger girl in the photos. He goes, I do. She tells him, to be honest, I'm younger than what the app listed her. So because she on the app says that she's 20, he asks her, how old are you? She tells him 14, but my last boyfriend was 28 years old. He goes, oh my God, that's too young, but I bet you're fun to be with. So guys, he's being very cautious at this point, but right off the bat is completely okay with it. She tells him he's turning 15 in a couple months. Right off the bat, he's getting, holy, it must be, how many people have you had, you know what with? I'm assuming your ex. She tells him she's been with older guys. He goes, damn, I bet your private area is so,
wow.
Oh my God, that's super young. And he's completely okay with it. Completely okay with it. He knows that she's 14 years old. He does not care. This guy is absolutely sad. I mean, like,
at one point he tries to get her to create or get onto the WhatsApp, whatever it's called. I don't use it, WhatsApp, because I guess it's more private. You know, they can keep stuff confidential. I'm not sure if that's even true. I wouldn't trust that, folks. But he tries to get her to create an account with that so he can then continue to communicate with her via that app so that he can try to remain private, I guess, or maybe that, you know, he won't get caught. But he does. He's an idiot, right? And this is a problem here in Yonkers, and I hope that parents are watching. And if you're a parent, you should be concerned. You know, you should spread the word that this individual is still, you know, out in the street, has not been arrested, and is still working for the Westchester County Board of Legislators as a legislative aide. Let's show when he gets caught here.
And every you let me, I'm super. Are you gonna let me? And then starts asking her if she could do.
This is the WhatsApp
braids or pigtails or ponytail, and then she asks him, so no plan, no, and then he likes the plan B. So he was gonna do it with her, and just utilize plan B. Here he says, I'm gonna F the out of you and finish down your throat. That would be.
Well, it's a little vulgar, so I don't want to keep going with the vulgarness, but just you get the point.
Put up super intoxicated. It was such a messed up situation. Now here's just a little clip.
Is that David Tubiolo? Hey, David, do you know this guy? It's David Tubiolo here.
This is all the legislators.
There goes Chris Johnson.
Find a clip of him in the background.
Legislator Kunzio, Legislator Johnson, Legislator Pierce.
Yes. We are restarting from our recess, and we did so waiting for our budget director to join us, and we're grateful that he has now. Larry, can you introduce yourself?
I am a yes. Vice Chair Smith.
Yes.
Alvarado. Legislator Barr.
Where's Alvarado?
Only all these legislators knew the kind of man he truly was. We'll see what they do, the government does when they watch this video. We'll see if they
If you don't know already, this is the Westchester County Board of Legislators. Alvarado's missing. He's been MIA for a while. Anybody seen Alvarado?
recommend him, or if he stays there and keeps working.
Legislator Kunzio?
Yes.
Legislator Johnson?
Yes.
Legislator Pierce?
Yes.
Legislator Wilson Samuels? And Chair Borgia, and
This is what they do. Cell phone. She's talking. She seems like she's talking about something important, I would imagine, right? That they're voting on. Cell phone, cell phone, cell phone. Don't look so excited, Chris. No, look at this. This is our board of legislators, folks. This is our government.
are adjourned at 11:58.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Don't forget to start the legislation.
And then this is just another photo of him.
And he's with Mike Spano. As I mentioned, he worked in City Hall here in the city of Yonkers. He worked for former City Council President Mike Cater he was involved in throwing him under the bus, creating this false story. And so this is karma, dude. Karma. You're busted, pedo guy.
I think it should be below me where I'm angled with a few other legislators.
That's
Absolutely.
the mayor of City of Yonkers guy.
Guys, if you enjoyed these kind of reaction videos to the chat logs, let me know in the comments.
Well, let's bust them.
Actually, before we pick up the tripod, do me pick up the tripod when what's up, guys. So we got a predator that we're gonna obliterate inside. Who's here to mess with the 14-year-old.
Let's get him. Let's get him. All right.
Yeah, my cousin. Hey, how you doing?
And that's how they get into signed petitions.
Weapons on you. Okay, I'm here to have a conversation with you. Listen, this is gonna go one of two ways. I can either call the police, you go to jail, you committed multiple felonies, or we can have a consensual conversation. Nobody's gonna touch you, nobody's gonna hurt you. Okay. You wanna go to jail? Or are you gonna talk to me? I don't know you. Oh yeah, you don't know me? I'm gonna show you the child lock. Hold up, because you committed multiple felonies. Can you want to go to jail? Can you not touch me? Who are you here to meet tonight? And why are you drinking? Why do you smell like alcohol? Because I was at a bar. Okay, and you're drinking? You want to go to jail? If you committed multiple felonies. If you touching my guy. Okay, who are you here to meet tonight? I'm not here to meet him. Who are you here to meet tonight? Who the? Hold on, 111.
All right, on the cops, bro.
This is gonna go a lot better for you if you just cooperate and apologize and then you get the out of here. I run an organization that catches online predators. So who you here to meet? Who you here to meet? Why'd you get the little? Why'd you get the little? Answer my question.
What's the
little? Why'd you get the little? I got you. We got everything. You're gonna go to jail. If you leave, you're gonna go to jail. You're gonna get arrested. You're gonna get arrested. Why'd you get the little? So you want me to show you the chat log?
We'll get your license plate and everything.
So stop for a second. I'm gonna show you the chat log. I'm gonna show you the chat log. Is this not you? Right here. Nope. Is this not you? Huh?
Busted.
We use photos of somebody that's over 18 but has a baby face enough to look like a. And when he messaged her, we notified him on the app, hey, I'm only 14, is that okay? And he said he was okay with the age. He requested from the girl. He wanted to see her. After she told him she was 14, he told her he wanted to her. 69 her, a whole slew of things. He just drove 3 hours. I smelled the alcohol on his breath.
He was sauced, bro.
He was sauced.
So the cops were told, why did they arrest this guy? Why is he still loose? Why is he still free? He tried to have sex with a 14-year-old girl. Is it because he's a legislative aide up at the Board of Legislators here in Westchester County? Chris Johnson, you were in there with a pedo guy. David Tubiolo, you just all over the news, aren't you, Dave? Mom over there at the county board of elections, you know, doing things she's not supposed to do with her $100,000 a year job. Alvarado's missing. Tyree Woodson, right? Did I get it right? Next time you guys see this guy, make sure you have him arrested, okay? He was, you know, trying to solicit a 14-year-old girl for sex. What's going on? Will we see justice? I just want to put him out there. And by the way, to that dude, yo, I just want to say that Mike Cater sends his best to you. Moving on. Folks, speaking of the Westchester County Board of Elections, you know, I wanted to just talk about this a little bit. You know, if I don't record everybody, right? But if you know, so I only record people who give me a reason to, right? And usually it's because I want to protect myself. But today I was talking to individuals, right, in regards to, you know, politics, the elections and stuff like that. And the things that, were being said, information that was just being spoken about, not necessarily to give me information, but just, having a conversation about how politics are or how the game goes, so to speak, here in the city of Yonkers. One of the things that I hear was being told to people is that if you wanted a DPW job, you got to get 1,000 signatures. That's right, 1,000 signatures, and you get yourself a DPW job. I also hear that they pay for votes. They reach out to certain people, but they don't do it directly. They'll reach out to an underling who will then reach out to people that they may know in order to score brownie points, and they get people to come up and agree to sell their vote. They'll pay them. They don't even have to actually vote. They can go get their absentee ballot. So that's one of the ways that the elections are being cheated here in the city of Yonkers. Do you need the proof? Do you need to actually see it happen? It's known among people. And I know that they go up to the Board of Elections to grab a bunch of absentee ballots. I know. This was the strategy of one candidate that I was, speaking with at one point during the 2021 elections. That's how I learned how they cheat, how they ballot harvest. At that time when it was happening, I didn't really understand it. I didn't know what ballot harvesting was, but as time progressed, I realized that that's what was going on. And so I spoke about this in a few podcasts ago in regards to Zahi Jerris being seen at the Board of Elections. Zahi Jerris was convicted of political corruption, extortion, and blackmail. Zahi Jerris is the former chair of the Republican Party here in the city of Yonkers. He was convicted of getting Sandy Anabi, the majority leader of the city council at the time, to change her vote on a real estate deal, the Ridge Hill deal. She also went to jail for 6 years as a result of Zahi Jerris, pretty much. He was the one that put all this together, but it was on the behalf of other individuals. Now Zahi Jerris is operating within the Democratic Party, and he's up at the Board of Elections challenging people's petitions. How is it that the Westchester County Board of Elections allows a man like Zahi Jerris, who has been convicted, who is a felon of political corruption, blackmail, extortion, all having to do with politics, how do they allow him to go up there and file challenges, review anyone's petition? How is he allowed to do that? And how does he have individuals that work there who are close to him, who he knows well, who he can just call up on his cell phone and let them know that he is sending someone up to see them? How can we trust our election? How do we trust that the elections have integrity? How do we trust the integrity of the elections, right? How do we know for sure that they're not being cheated every election cycle? It's the same people that are usually winning. And sure, they have connections and resources, and they've been in politics for a while. So that does give them an advantage. But does that also give them the opportunity to cheat? Has that given them the knowledge and the skill in cheating these elections, right? They know all the loopholes. They know ways to cheat, like sending people up to collect a bunch of ballots, holding on to those ballots and submitting them if needed, utilizing the food distribution sites in order to get people's information so then they can go out and scour the city, getting petitions like they did very recently. And I hear the way they started was in District 3. They attacked that first and then spread out from there. Many of the candidates working together, like Mike Spano and Tasha Diaz, and so their teams were together. So if you sign for Mike Spano, you sign for Tasha Diaz. If you wanted to sign for Tasha Diaz, you sign for Mike Spano. Many people signing petitions and had no clue what they were signing. All they knew was that they wanted the food to continue. And if they didn't sign that form, then the food wouldn't be there anymore. And so they exploited the food insecurities that many of the people here in the city of Yonkers have in order to get petition signatures. We saw the mayor announce recently that he had an unprecedented amount of petition signatures, 7,000 or more. But is that really an accomplishment when you have the city, government, employees to leverage in order to get these petition signatures? When employees know they better sign for your petition or they won't have a job. When people know they want a job, they got to go out there and hustle and gather as many petition signatures as possible. For 1,000 signatures, you'll get yourself a DPW job. And so how is it that someone like myself or any other candidate looking to create change here in the city of Yonkers is to compete with that? Even if you get the signatures, you'll have a man like Zahi Jarris go up there and challenge them. He has his connections within the Board of Elections to assist him in that challenge. David Tubiolo, his mother works in the Board of Elections. His dad, former GOP chair, still very influential in the Republican Party. He assured that there would be no challenger for David Tubiolo. And if there were, they would go to great lengths to assure that there would not be. And we see that is what happened. So we have to be aware of this. We have to let people know that this is not okay. We have to speak out against it. We have to let them know that we know and we're watching. Henry D. John Balaj, he also was up at the Board of Election challenging people. Henry, you're a very successful guy. I'm sure you're busy. Do you really want to challenge somebody? Really? But that's what they do in order to continue to get favors done for them. And so that's how elections operate here in the city of Yonkers. So when Lakeisha Collins Bellamy introduced the legislation to extend the term limits for the 4th time, you weren't doing anything for anyone. You were crippling our election process. You basically gave Mike Spano the win. You might as well have just created a legislation to make Mike Spano king of Yonkers. It's the same thing. But why did you introduce that legislation? What led you to that decision? And why have you not passed legislation that will benefit the people you said you were going to represent? The very people that are being pushed out. You know, the people that can't afford those buildings that you are approving to be developed. Folks, I want to go over some really quick comments on the Yonkers Tribune. Yonkers Tribune. Ain't that something? And I'm going to talk about the budget as well. Let's talk about the comprehensive financial report. I'm going to break it down, explain to you exactly what each of these lines mean and what is the important number on that report. And I'm going to show you exactly just where the city is at economically, the economic health, the financial health of the city. Is the city doing well financially? I wouldn't say it was. I mean, it's carrying $2.94 billion of debt. There's an unrestricted total net position of $3.3 billion. Negative debt. So is the city doing well? The city's spending more than it has. And what it's doing is it's creating a deficit that it will kick down to future taxpayers. So when the city says we have money for this and we're going to be spending here, they're borrowing, continue to put the city in more and more debt. Tasha Diaz, she is the majority leader. One of her majority roles is to review the budget. She is spending $10,000 in taxpayer money, throwing some event at the Castle Royale to give awards to the people that help solidify her wins, but do nothing for the people. That tax money could have been better used. Tasha, did you think about that? Do you even know that we Well, the city is in almost $3 billion debt. No, she doesn't care. She doesn't even know. I want to read some of the comments here from Corazones, and I read this because I want to give folks, an idea of what's going on here. We need the spoiler candidate, Margaret. 15% of the vote, Coleman, to drop out. Margaret Coleman has been pretty much MIA. In fact, somebody called me up and said, Freddie, somebody came and knocked on my door and they wanted my signature, but I already told them I signed for you. I'm good. Thank you. And I believe that might have been Margaret Coleman's people because this was very recently, and I know that her team was out until the very last day. But I'm hearing that her petition signatures are no good. They're no good. Some are wondering if she made a deal with Mike Spano because there's rumors that the Spano team may have given some funding to the Margaret Coleman campaign. This is what sources are telling me. I have to verify that. But was she utilized to split the vote in order to hurt Corazon Pineda Isaac? Was there a deal made with the Margaret Coleman camp and the Spano camp? So many deals being made in back rooms that, anything's possible. I mean, I think I'm the only guy that calls it like I see it, says it like it is, and it's always going to be that way, even 5 years from now. So did she make a deal with the Spano? I mean, her campaign manager is Keisha Skipper. Keisha Skipper was thanked by the city council president, Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, for her win. She was thanked along with the Spanos, Zahi Jarris, and Wilson Kimball. Quite the group. So did she make a deal? Is she still connected to the Spano camp and Lakeisha Collins Bellamy and that circle? And did she make a deal? Is this the plan? They're really upset with Corazon. She's biting the hand that fed her. That's what they're saying. How dare she? And this is what I'm saying, folks. She was a Spano loyalist until she wasn't. And they're very upset about that. How dare she? But she feels like it's her time, and she's been gassed by the super left, the indivisibles, and those folks. They're going to come for you now, Eileen. They're going to definitely take your award after this election's over. Because I'm not sure if Corazon's going to be able to do it, and that's just my honest opinion. Corazon, most unprofessional politician in town. When she walked into the rectory for her last primary win, I thought I was at a quinceañera. It's like a sweet 16, 15. One must come off as respectable and serious if they wish to represent the people. The worst thing for the Latino movement would be a premature vote for Pineda. She will divide the islands, cause a divide with the Mexican community, and ignite historical racial hatred between African Americans and Dominicans in the city because she is going to be about herself and her own. She is not mature enough to lead. She wants to take over and make it about herself. Always angry and left-leaning. She does not represent her own people well enough. I do not think she can represent me. Receiving the Working Communist Party endorsement is enough on its own to convince me she isn't for me. I'd rather vote for David Berkowitz. Well, I don't know about that. I think you're being very extreme to whoever wrote this comment. I will agree with you on the maturity part. I don't think she's mature to, enough to lead this city. I don't. I'm just being honest. I actually saw Corazon the other day in the City Explorer. She was bumping what song was that? I forgot. It was one of a popular club song. And I don't think she does. And I've spoken about this with individuals. I mean, and these are not people that are anti-Corazon. In fact, they actually support Corazon, and they were just questioning whether or not she was mature enough to become the mayor. And I'm not sure. And I've heard also that they're concerned that and look, I didn't say this. I'm just repeating it. Some people said, now we're going to be Washington Heights. That's racist, is it? I like the Heights. And, I think that what we're going to be is a sixth borough. Washington Heights is no different than any other place really in the city. I mean, you have a different group of individuals. So that comment may be a little racist, right? What does that mean exactly? But this is what I've heard. But no, I'd say more like the city, the double parking, but that's everywhere. That's the Heights. That's in Greenwich, you know. It's everywhere. Times Square, it's everywhere. And that's what we're becoming. But it's becoming a racial thing. Oh, it's all about the Dominicans with corazón. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Of course, she's going to have pride in her people. You got to expect that. But she does have to be cautious of coming off too ethnic. Unfortunately, that's just the world we live in. And yes, we are seeing a divide among the Hispanic communities because for some reason we are so different, we only speak Spanish. Well, the Jewish don't do that. Jewish people from Germany and America will get along just fine and say they're exactly the same. And maybe that's not the best, I don't know, analogy, but I think it's the closest we can get. We are Hispanic. I don't care if your rice has gandules in it or mine has red beans or yours is mixed with refried beans. We're still Hispanics. We still must support each other. And that has been an issue since the Puerto Rican Day Parade. The Mexican community was divided because they felt left out. And so will they call it the Hispanic Day Parade this time and leave out the Puerto Rican? I'm Puerto Rican. I don't really care. I don't. But they were upset. So they got the Mexican festival. And then they got conned, we hear, by the administration, according to an anonymous letter I received in Spanish. The Mexican community was conned into writing a letter in support of the fourth term, which they sent to the city council. And that's what I guess Lakeisha based her legislation on. I don't know. As a person born in South America, I have nothing in common with Pineda. And for that matter, Dominicans. What? Are you in America? Then we're Americans. And I think we have a lot in common. Maybe we start focusing on that fact, right? It's okay to celebrate your ethnicity. It's okay to celebrate the country or commonwealth or island that you come from. But we are in America. And we must follow the traditions here. That means no double parking, no riding scooters crazy, running through lights with no helmets. Don't play your music at 3 a.m, super loud, so your neighbors 5 houses down can hear. Most of us moved into the community here in the neighborhood because we wanted it to be quiet. I'm just saying. Anybody but Spano. Pineda Isaac voted against bills to combat shoplifting and crime just last night. Voted against a bill to combat. The Working Family Party are strong and vocal advocates of defund the police and are as far left as you can get. Pineda Isaac is a real democratic socialist. And that's something I've said. I'm not saying that Pineda herself, I'm just saying the team that's supporting her is very left. And any extreme is no good, whether it's far right or far left. The sane people, those of us who are sane, we're in the middle. We understand there's a balance. We understand there's give and take, there's compromise. One way, on one issue, we may feel this way, that might seem Republican, but on another issue, we may feel that way, that seems Democratic. Why can't we be both? I've been labeled a Republican because I believe in traditional family values. I believe in working, building your own empire, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. That's what I believe in, less federal government invasion in your privacy, in your life. I have to totally straight with you. Comments like, oh yeah, so somebody called Corazon a dog, which I think that's, very rude. And so this guy, I have to be totally straight with you. Comments like yours disgust me. If you have a policy disagreement, then please articulate your point and refute the councilwoman. However, to call her a dog is disgraceful. Of course, you would only say this because you're anonymous. And I agree. People will talk crap when it's anonymous. Never say it. Would you like anyone to refer to your loved ones as such? Why don't you sign your name or tell her husband to his face that she is a dog? You never will because you're soft. Jeff Tough Guy Myers from Tampa, Florida. This guy is just all in it. All in Yonkers politics from Florida. He sent me a message being tough. I don't understand why you even involve yourself, Jeff. You say you're just focused on feeding people. That's all you care about. Your charity that you do all the way from Florida. Are you feeding anybody in Florida, by the way? Anybody in Tampa? You guys got lines out there in Tampa? Just wondering if you set up shop over there, Jeff. But you're actually involved in politics because we know what you do, Jeff, and you got mad because I called you out, Jeffrey. You work with Zahi Jerris. Don't act like you don't know the guy. He goes, I don't know him. I'm friends with him on Facebook, but I don't know him. Stop the nonsense, Jeff. I can see a liar a mile away. So then someone responds, because I'm not the only one that knows this. Jeff, mind your business. Your organization exists to put illegitimate politicians like Tasha Diaz in office. She uses your food distributions to gain the elections using absentee ballot. Thank you very much. I have foiled the voter records and I'm exposing your illegal activities. Whoever wrote that comment, please contact me. politicwithfred@gmail.com. ASAP. Because we're looking into all that. We're getting all the petition sheets. We're going to cross-reference them. The people that are signing versus the people that have jobs, the people that are witnessing, who are carrying. What districts did they target first? Folks, this is why I was involved. I'm learning, I'm educating myself to those who say, and I managed to get more than 1,000. However, I scrubbed them myself. I couldn't be out there. I had people out there. I couldn't be out there. I mean, I did go out, but I wasn't out there all the time. I just have a lot going on, folks. I know some people think I just drive around all day. No. I do drive from job to job. I got to go to different places, but I couldn't. And, a lot of signatures, I wasn't comfortable with them. I didn't want to submit them because I know how these guys are. They're going to challenge me. And, you pay people, to go out there. Some people just want to get paid. That's one of the hardest things as a business owner is finding good employees. So I'm sure they could go out there. People don't care. They don't have the care that you do. And I was having trouble finding people to do this. I was paying and couldn't really find them, right? So I decided not to because they would jump all, oh, look, he's, something they would twist, right? And I didn't feel confident. I wasn't going to pay a lawyer to go through this court thing because they challenged me when I got a lot going on. I already got caught with Zahi Jerris. He's suing me for $1 million, right? I already paid my lawyer for that. I'm suing people who owe me money for my business, right? Who haven't paid me. So I'm paying my lawyer for that. But the real objective here was to learn this process, understand the process from the inside out. I won because I showed them I'm not scared. And this should show all of you. You should not be scared. You want to run? Enter the race. Enter the race. And to some of the people out there, I'm a bit disappointed in you guys. You guys should have supported Freddy Vazquez. You guys let your emotions of wanting to take out Spano get the better of you. And, it wasn't the best decision. I tried to reach out to some of you to organize and really do this. I hope that the next time you are not so reluctant because I'm going to put something together. I'm not going anywhere. I've only been doing this less than 2 years. Everyone else is 12 years or better. So the fact that Freddy Vazquez has talked about this much in less than 2 years, that says a lot. So say what you want, naysayers. But Freddy Vazquez is not going anywhere. And I've learned a lot. And you better believe that I will have a team set up prior. And we will go out there strategically because I didn't need the funds. I could have got the money to run. I wasn't going to do fundraisers like that. I'm not looking to ask people for money. But these people cheat these elections. You're going up against guys like Jeff and Zahi Jerris who create these food distribution drives just to suck up all the petition signatures. People signing just because they don't want the food distribution to go. People signing, they don't know who they signed for. I even got one guy to get mad at one of Corazon's people, Roxy, in a building because he signed a petition he didn't know. He wanted to sign mine. Why? Because I spoke to the man for 10 minutes and introduced myself, told them who I was. And I wish they changed that. They should make the candidates themselves have to get the signatures. They shouldn't be allowed to have a team, because what happens is you get the mayor using employees like Seda Jerris, who got 150 on her own. Mark Constantine, one of the council's attorneys for the city, was out there collecting signatures. I mean, come on. How many city employees were out there? People witnessed them. During city or during work hours, how many people got paid leaves on that day, February 28th? So you're going up against this system that's been operating for a long time. It's not going to be easy because they cheat. They utilize resources that most people just don't have. And all these employees who still live in Yonkers better vote for the mayor. And some of them have addresses here but don't live in Yonkers, but they're registered here so they can vote for the mayor, even though they live up in Yorktown or elsewhere. That's a fact. Jeff, tell us what happened in Eastchester Police Department. Do you know Corazon wants to go after the police? Jeff is very skilled at throwing flies or files and books at people he disagrees with, hit them right in the eye. Right, Jeff? Oh, did you assault somebody, Jeff? Because you're a very aggressive individual. Hey, Jeff, it's easy for you to comment when you're living in sunny Tampa. Come live in Nodine Hill or South Broadway area under Corazon Pineda's leadership. Our lives have been hell. Our lives have been hell under Corazon's leadership. With no crime and no employment. She has a cushy $100,000 no-show job while I have to suffer. I stand by my words. Wow. I'm not sure who that is. That was rude, though. Those comments are coming from the other side, no doubt about it. Of course. Of course. But Jeff is part of the other side. Isn't that funny? Jeff is supporting Corazon, isn't he, with Zehi? Interesting. Yonkers' continue attempt to espouse political dogma, eclipsed by identity politics that I don't know, was has he Mayor Spano, like him or not, will win the Democratic primary if one occurs. Pineda cannot beat the machine, and the other candidate, no one knows. I thought Morante may have a shot, but I have changed my mind. If a miracle occurred and he won, nothing would change. He's too soft, and he's also initially voted to extend terms, going nowhere. Patty Breen sells Mike Breen's votes to benefit her family. Others went to jail. Let's prepare a sale for the Breens. Councilmember Pineda Isaac says she's tough on crime, but voted against a bill that condones shoplifting, vandalism, and robbery. She took this vote only 2 days ago. Pineda Isaac district is up in crime by a whopping 36%. She took office 10 years ago. So if her district is up 36%, imagine what the entire city is up, right? So that means it's up. It's up. She lets that illegal junkyard and used cooking oil truck dumps their toxic antifreeze and oil down the storm drains on property at 372 Riverdale. There got to be over 40 junk cars there. It's not zoned for that. How do they get away with this, please? Tell your people, Pineda, we had called your office many times. You have done nothing. That junkyard belongs to a member of the City of Yonkers BID bid. Just another member of the Friends and Family Network has all the inspectors in his pocket, but not long ago. But not for long. Also, someone needs to tell Andrew to buy new suits and take showers and get a haircut. He looks and smells like a dump. Get your shine box. Oh, which Andrew are you talking about? Corazon is a piece. Oh, wow. POS. Mayor Spano has been nothing but good to her. He has headline fundraisings for her, helped her sister and mother get jobs. She has the nerve to attack him. It's your only and only dog is here, Spano. He destroyed Yonkers to benefit his pockets. Aside from his city worker loyalists, everyone in Yonkers hates that man. He has done nothing but raise taxes, which are going up by 2.9%, if you didn't know. Schools are falling apart. Crime is up. The city is dirty, homeless is everywhere, no affordable housing, and this is just the top layer. And so all you sycophants, sycophants, like nothing personal against the mayor. The mayor's tired. Mike, I know you don't want to run. I know you have to. You have to do it for the family and for all those people that are dependent on you because they can't depend on themselves, Mike. Your health. You're not looking too good, Mike. Like retire, dude. Retire. Mike, let them know. You the mayor. You run the show. I'm done. I'm gonna go see my kids graduate from college. I'm gonna go rest. Got bags on your eyes. Tired. Let the man retire. Lakeisha, let him retire. He didn't want you to do that. Vinny did that. Come on. You know there's a divide in that family, right, folks? They're not all super tight. No, there's a divide. The young folks still wanting the power. They don't want to let go. Too much money to be made. The man made money. He's good. He don't want to be there dealing with the crap. He doesn't even really run the city. He's just there. He shows up. It's symbolic, so to speak. That's just a fact. That's a fact, Yonkers. That's a fact. Get it through your head. Spread the word. Let's be clear on this. The current city council, including Pineda, is a Spano loyalist. They all should be voted out. And this is what I've said. I'm sorry, no disrespect. But let's just start new. Also, wow, they used the, I'm not going to even say what they said. Also, the mayor needs to focus on his health. He looks terrible. Pineda Isaac's sister works in the Yonkers Veteran Service Agency, taking a job away from a veteran. Yeah. So I hope that people are going to come out and vote. And you can write a candidate in. How about we do that? We just write anybody. Yeah, we do. How about we write Mickey Mouse? Brian, that's a great idea. Let's write Mickey Mouse in there. Let's get Mickey Mouse more votes than any other candidate. Because, I mean, this is Mickey Mouse show. This is a freaking circus. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable, folks. Anyway, I want to go over this, but I'll go over it maybe at another podcast. This is important. This is important to know for you finance guys. And Anthony Moranti, like we should really question Moranti, right? You want to question Moranti if he's really legit. Moranti, you really legit? I'm just saying, I'm asking, are you really legit? I'm going to give you a brief here, Moranti. To the Board of Elections, too, really quick. We're watching you guys up there. Tubiolo's made it hot. Zahi Jarris made it hot for you guys. The Office of Public Integrity, please check them out over there at the Board of Elections. Got a lot of footage. So this is important, Moranti. Do you look at this? Do you look at this financial report here? I'm just going to go up real quick, tell you what this is. And by the way, P.F. O'Connor Davies, that's the fact that they are constantly doing the audits. That's a problem. Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. Do you look at this, Moranti? Because this is important. This tells you everything we need to know here in the city. So up here, really quick, and I won't be too long. This is finance, but this tells us net assets. This is a net position. This is what our assets or the city's assets are. As of 2022, total assets includes, properties, cash, whatever, $1.9 billion. Deferred outflows of resources, $835 million. That's deferred. That's money that they cannot get right now, but they still include it, which is wrong because it shouldn't be since they don't have that money now. So that makes the numbers wrong. It looks different, makes it look better than it really is. But we cannot use that money. That's why it's called deferred, right? So total assets. Here are total liabilities. What are liabilities? Are bills, expenses as of 2022. And I want to talk about this because they're going to be speaking about the budget. It's budget season. Current liabilities at the 2022 total liabilities, $3.8 billion. $3.8 billion. That's a lot of liability. That's a big number. And so if our total assets are $1.9 billion and our total liabilities are $3.8 billion, what does that mean? The city can't cover its bills. Right? If you have $3,000 in expenses for the month of April, but you're only bringing in $1,000, what are you going to do to cover all your bills when you need an additional $2,000? What do? City has to borrow, put itself into debt, into more debt. Long-term liabilities here, in case you wonder, long-term liabilities are pension plans. The city's pension that it has to pay when people retire. That's a liability that they're going to have over the long term. Current liabilities are the expenses that are due now, $252 million. But check out this pension, $3.5 billion. 3.5, that is the majority of the liability that the city has. It's these pensions. And so when you're hiring a bunch of people, friends and family, giving them jobs, making up titles, then they get pensions to add on to the debt, the future debt, because they don't care now. They won't be here to deal with it. So just keep kicking the can down the road, right? That's what they say. Keep kicking the can down the road. 3.5 billion, let's just call it 3.6 billion for long-term liabilities. Add the current liability, you got 3.8 billion total. Deferred inflow of resources, revenue and income that is put off for future years. Deferred inflows of resources, revenue and income that is put off for future years. And for 2022, it was at $1.8 billion. But they can't touch that. Can't touch that. So the most, important number, though, that we should know is the unrestricted. That's the most important number in this whole report. The unrestricted amount right here. That's the most important. That tells you where the city's at. Where we at financially, the financial health. And the city is $3.3 billion in the hole. So when you see these brackets here, parentheses, whatever you call those, I forget. That means negative. That's negative. That's the most important number. That means that the city cannot cover its bills. It is in the hole. If it were you and I, we would have to file bankruptcy. We would lose everything. But not the city, because they can continue to borrow off the backs of the taxpayers, you and I, and the future taxpayers, our kids. And let them deal with it. Let us deal with it. We need to hire our friends. We need to give raises and promotions to those who support us politically. So the city owns, or the city owes more than it owns currently. So we're not in the best of shape. So when they lie to you and present the budget and present the city's financial health as it's such a great, we're in a great shape, it's not true. When they say, oh, we were in the positive, in the black, $200 million, well, that barely put a dent in the $3 billion debt. So we shouldn't be excited about that. So again, the unrestricted number is the most important number. That tells the health of the city. It's at $3.3 billion debt. The city does not have enough to cover its expenses. This restricted amount of 30 million is restricted. You can't use that. Net investment capital assets. So yeah, that's important. And we continue to spend. But are we spending wisely? If we have to spend and put ourselves further into debt, is it worth it? Is it money worth spending? Why did the city sell 470 Nepperhan Avenue? And at a steal, pretty much. That's a great way to generate income. They have the DEA and other federal agencies renting out space. YIDA and other businesses and organizations renting out space, and there could have been generating money instead of selling it, instead of selling off all our property. So yeah, we don't have enough money to pay our bills. The current administration has pushed the debt, current expenses onto future taxpayers. Ultimately, city officials are living it up, or are not, I'm sorry, not living it up, are not living up to the duties of balancing their budget. This is not a balanced budget. They're spending now and leaving it for the future taxpayers. They're not balancing it out. So our city council, whose primary responsibility is to review the mayor's budget, are doing a crappy job. So Anthony Moranti, as the accountant, what say you? What say you about this debt that we're carrying, which is technically, I guess, is 2.9, just call it $3 billion. What say you, Moranti? It's interesting. Very interesting. So total assets, the way you would calculate that, total assets plus deferred outflows equals net assets, total net assets. And then you add the total liabilities with the deferred inflows, that equals your total net liabilities. And then you subtract the two numbers to get your total net position or unrestricted number. That shows you where we at, which is pretty much a $3 billion debt. That's the position that we're in, right? And so here's another changes in net position. This breaks it down a little bit more. Program revenues, general government support, which is, this is general, expenses. So look, program revenue, we're $96 million. General government support, $116 million. So we're spending more than we're receiving there. So that's putting us in the negative. What is general government support actually? Then we have education here, this expense, which is technically a separate budget, but it was combined with the city in 2014 after an accounting error, which was a setup. $669,288,977 for education. But spending was down from the previous year. And that's because I would imagine they got the pandemic money, some injection there. There was more money. So spending, it was down in 2022 on education. It was also down on public safety. But it increased in culture and recreation by 4 million, right? Because we care about that. It's more. Home and community services increased also, 101 from 92 last year. So this breaks it down a little more. And you can go through this, and I've posted this. This is very important. So you know where exactly we stand financially. So when they are telling us one thing, we know the truth. Right? We know that's not true. Because it's all about how they word it, how they present it to you, or what part of the report or the budget sheet they're showing you. But the most important number that you need to look at is the unrestricted amount, and that currently stands at negative $3 billion. So that says we owe more than we own. And so how are we going to pay down that $3 billion debt? That's why our schools have not improved. That's why the city doesn't have money for anything, because ultimately any extra additional money has to go to service that debt or for promotion and raises, right? I don't understand why we are in the red with all this great so-called development projects going on in the last 10 years. I just don't get it exactly. And I was saying the same thing as I was going through the budgets, different numbers from the different years. I didn't get it. I didn't understand. I thought we were bringing in all this money. Thought we're supposed to be generating so much more taxes with all the new people coming into the city of Yonkers, the higher income earners. That's what they want, to bring in more taxes. But now I get it. I understand why they want those folks, because they need the tax money. They need the tax revenue because the city is in so much debt. $3 billion debt. How are they going to get out of that? Well, we bring in higher income earners, but they're giving the developers tax breaks. Well, they figure we need them to attract the higher income earners. But they're not giving any jobs to local people. As you can see that I posted pictures, vans bringing in undocumented workers possibly. And somebody said, oh, everything is not about, race, because you mentioned that. Think it through. Why? Safety reasons. A building that was being developed in New Orleans collapsed while workers were working on it recently, maybe within a year or so. Or they're doing development there, crushing workers who were left crushed in between the pieces of the buildings for about a week before rescue workers could get to them and remove the bodies. And so people could see this as they were walking the downtown area. So safety. Also, are they treating these individuals fairly? Are they providing them safe work environments? Are they taking advantage of them? Because I saw them being transported in the back of a box truck with a cage on it. It looked like they were being kidnapped in human traffic, but they said they weren't. The box trucks had no plates, and they're bringing these people into work into the city on developments that are getting tax breaks because they're supposed to be creating jobs for those who live in the city, and they're not. You see them coming from Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Jersey, and you see them coming in by the van full. That's crazy. But no developers are paying their fair share of all tax breaks. Free IDA money. Yeah, they're getting money from the IDA and they're getting tax breaks. Joe Cotter, another one that's getting these tax breaks. And he can't even at least prepare a sidewalk for the people while they build the studios. Over there on Warburton across from DSS, the studio, the movie studio that's being built there, is creating a problem for pedestrians. They're supposed to create a walking path, put barriers up, and they have not. And there's no police, and I haven't seen anyone really directing traffic. So not too long ago, maybe about 2 weeks ago, I saw an individual in a wheelchair have to go into the street because the sidewalk was cut off and they had no path there. So literally the guy's in the wheelchair in the street, dodging cars, dodging construction vehicles. And we have to deal with that. We have to be the ones to suffer through all of this, yet we're not going to benefit because the majority of the people in the city of Yonkers don't want this. That's a fact. They don't want this. And even people that moved here recently from the city are moving back. They don't want this. And I posted some comments left on Nextdoor app. People said once they started building and they saw that they weren't going to stop, that they had to leave. So people are leaving. But ultimately, I'm realizing what the plan is. The buildings that they're developing now, they're not for the people here. And the people that are going to be living in them are not here yet. They're building this infrastructure for all the movie studio people that are going to come into Yonkers once the 22 to 24 movie studios are finally built. They need somewhere to house them. So they're building these luxury developments. Think about it. Why would they take over land where there are currently businesses occupying them that are providing jobs, like the bus depot over in Ludlow Park on Fernbrook, like the European Beauty business on Woodworth, or the meat market that was there for 70 years on Woodworth, and other businesses that have been forced to close down, eliminating jobs to bring in luxury developments that the average person in Yonkers can't afford, especially if they just lost their job in order to build the development. So who are they bringing them for? So I realized they're building them for the people that are going to come here to work in the movie studios. They're preparing the infrastructure for those folks. They want hotels for them. So when they come, they can stay in a hotel, scout out places to live, or rent one of the apartments, stay there, work in the studio. They can walk to the studio. Then maybe as they grow older, they start a family, they'll buy one of the houses on the outskirts of the downtown area that will be going for $1 million now. That's what they're doing. They're putting the hotel and casino and all that and entertainment venues to entertain these folks when they're off and not making movies. This isn't for the people of Yonkers, not one bit. And all you folks that own houses on the east side and stuff, they want you out too. The rich folks from the movie industry are coming in. They need houses. And they're going to buy your houses. Why do you think Nick Spano, who had an event the other day at his house for Shanae, built the pool house? He bought the house next door just to make it into a pool house. Because he's getting ready for all these rich people. They're already moving up. They all were hanging out at Untermeyer Park. I'm talking about the uber wealthy people. The people that never work, that have drivers. They want Yonkers. That's it. And they've made deals with folks up in Albany. And Albany's come down and made deal with the current administration. That's why the Spano and Hochul relationship has been so tight. This plan with these studios is not the Spano plan. This is the Albany plan. Wealthy people with connections up to Albany saw an opportunity in Yonkers to turn it into the Hollywood on the Hudson. Mayor Spano, being the mayor, was brought in to assure that they can accomplish this. So the people that are changing Yonkers are ultimately not from Yonkers. They're outsiders coming in to make money, to prepare it for the movie studio folks with the help of our local politicians who are selling us out. Every district has been sold out. The congestion, the traffic, the roads are crappy, the crime is up. We are turning into another borough of the city. And many of us lived in Yonkers because we didn't want to live in the city. I was just in the Bronx today, going to check out a job. And I hate the Bronx. I hate it. Excuse me. I just hate. And I do a lot of work in the Bronx, and I can't deal with it. But recently, my works have been, a lot of my jobs have been actually in Westchester, Yonkers. So I kind of got spoiled. And that's why I've been around, driving around, to the people who wonder, why are you driving around? Because recently my last 3 jobs were in Yonkers, which I loved. And I was like, oh man, I love this. I never have to go into the Bronx. But, I got to go where the money is. So, it's just becoming the Bronx. And I'm tired of that. I don't like it. Most people don't like it. So, but that's what the plan is, folks. It's not for the people of the city. It's for all the movie people that are going to be coming. They already have their teams. These production teams already in place. They're not going to start fresh by hiring people from Yonkers to work. And no, they're going to bring their teams here. They're going to rent these apartments here. They're making movie studio money. They're going to eventually buy houses. They're going to set up this school with Syracuse and Lionsgate. But that's going to be for the movie studio people, for their kids. That's not going to be for everyone. It's not going to be for the people on Riverdale. It's not going to be for people on School Street, or even over in Sedora Lane or Seder Lane, whatever you call that, or, it's not going to be for them. It's the movie studio people. Once they finish building them, they will all come here and they will have taken over. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics, where truth lives and corruption dies. You better believe what I say. Insiders are telling me, I've heard this now from many individuals, that they say I'm about 98% right. I'll take that. I'll take 98%. That's a high A. I'll take it. So believe what I say. Trust what I say. I'm not a journalist, so don't expect me to go and hunt down. I don't even have the damn time to really do that. Hunt down to verify things. If I get it from reliable sources that I know have been right, have no reason to lie, continue to be right, then I'm going to go with the story. I leave it up to you guys to decide ultimately. But we know how Yonkers is. So what I'm saying is not really that far-fetched, right? I mean, it's really not unbelievable to think that what I say is happening is actually happening. And some of it I've witnessed myself. I will go and testify that in court. I don't care. I will testify to that. And so when I say that Lakeisha Collins Bellamy's chief of staff was the one that started that child porn rumor about me, that's a fact. That's a fact. When she said it in front of the mayor of Mount Vernon, that's a fact. That's a fact. So will the mayor of Mount Vernon get on the stand and lie about it? Will she say, no, I never heard that? Will she perjure herself in a court of law? A mayor? Maria? And so when the city council president goes around crying about me calling her a little black puppet, which I did not, remember, you guys try to pin child pornography on me. I mean, hello. And I was just giving you a warning. I'm telling you, that's how they look at you. I was for you, Lakeisha. You know that. I was for you. I was. But look what's going on. And whatever happened with that meeting and AMS? What was negotiated? Because you did it online, a Zoom meeting. How many times do you guys talk about the lack of internet access that people have when it benefits your narrative, but then you want to go and do this online? Well, what about the people that lack internet access? What about the elderly people who don't use a computer like that? And how many people knew about it and actually, signed on? So you guys are playing games, and I just call them out. I'm not here to make it personal. It's not personal. It's not. I'm going to call it out because you wanted to mess with my business and you wanted to send inspectors and all that, give me a hard time, cost me money and delays. Well, now I'm going to call out your shit. How do you like that? Should have never started with me because I keep going and I will keep going. And I intend to keep going. Do you have the energy? Because I do. Remember, I'm a house husband. I got nothing to do all day. Especially if I don't have a daycare center. Oh, imagine the time I'm going to have then. I'm going to be a PI. I'm going to be following some of y'all because I see you guys all the time driving around in city vehicles. You're not hard to find. I'll be a PI, watching your every move, catching you when you're going to your mistress' house, catching you when you're going to do those backroom deals, catching you when you're driving home across the bridge in a city vehicle. 97.99%, I'll take that. That's close enough. How much taxes are paid on YIDA-owned properties? I'm going to write that down. I'm going to find out. How much taxes are paid on YIDA properties? You know, the YIDA has basically been taken over and they made that into their own personal realty company. Those folks, again, all kinds of kickbacks for that, right? How much you think they're getting kickbacks? Is it standard 20%? Or you think it's less or more? Right? But you know they're definitely making that money there, taking city property to develop it into luxury rentals. Really? Come on now. Come on now, folks. I just, I call it like I see it. We got to, we can't be letting these people lie to us. But no developers are paying their fee. Yeah, we're supposed to be getting all this money from these developments. We have gotten nothing. We're in $3 billion debt. I'm going to go over this comprehensive thing. Anthony Moranti as the accountant there. What do you think about that? What do you have to say, Anthony? You want to be the mayor. We're $3 billion in debt. The city is $3 billion in debt. That's what we're carrying. We barely made a dent into it. In 2021, we ain't put no money toward the debt. We were in the hole. In 2022, we came up positive 200 million, which put a little something in the debt. A dent into the debt, right? But what's the plan? Right? What's the plan? I can see why the city of Yonkers is in the shape they're in. We don't have any money because they're continuing to increase spending. Spending, Anthony. And this is what I say about you because you never mention any of this. You never mention the wasteful spending and then actually detail that wasteful spending. If the New York State Comptroller and it's detailing wasteful spending that they found because there's no real supervision, people turning in timesheets. I got a little small business and I make sure, I know it's easy, but I make sure, what I'm saying, that I have this system in place. I'm on it. I call my wife too. I say, hey, check the, what's the name? Because so-and-so, I think, didn't clock out. I'm not letting my employee go to the bathroom, do a bunch of stuff, then come out and clock out, right? Hello, if you're done at 4 or 5, clock out. You want to go to the bathroom after that, then go. That's fine, but you got to clock out. I'm not paying you to be in the bathroom at 5:10 or 5:15 because they will do that every time, and then that will add up. And so you need to be on top of that. So Anthony Moranti, you haven't said anything about these timesheets being turned in with all these hours that don't seem right, and nobody signed them. They know that they're going in like that. Nobody wants to be responsible. But ultimately, the person that was paid should be responsible. Right? And what about the banked hours for certain employees that are over the limit? People having over 100 hours of banked hours over the limit, getting paid for this. What about individuals taking leave when they haven't earned it yet? So the city's going into debt just to pay people to take off when they haven't even earned the time. And what about people stealing overtime? Anthony Moranti, that's what I mean. Like for me, the person that I would be so ready to vote for is the person that's talking all about this, because this is what's important. This is what's important. This right here, the numbers, the money. Where's the money? We ask that all the time. Let's find out where the money's going. I'm Freddy Vazquez, Basement Politics Unfiltered. Have a beautiful night. Enjoy your weekend. See what the weekend will bring. I hope something nice. I'm just hoping something nice. I'm gonna get some rest. Oh, by the way, I've been working last week. I haven't did my podcast, but and I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast. One of our students had a seizure. One of our pre-K students. And I love the students. I love all my students, but I love this student so much. She always comes and says, Freddy. She gives me hugs, and I love it. So she's so adorable. And I felt bad because she was turned away by other daycare centers. They just didn't want to deal with her, right? Because all kids have different medical issues, and we have to be prepared. As a daycare center, as a universal pre-K, we have to have plans in place that they have a specific medical condition that they're aware of. Like this particular student who just recently started having seizures. She started at home one weekend. So she came in, we got the plan, the seizure action plan. We have that on file and stuff. And, and then she had the seizure. And so I want to say I'm proud of my team, my staff. We handled that well. We gave the emergency, so that was very scary for us. So, but we did a great job. I went up to the hospital when our staff went with her. I then went up. I bought her a little toy, a little LOL thing, so she wouldn't feel, it's just, yeah, I love those kids, yo. I do. I love those kids. I love what I do with the daycare center. To see a kid in that condition, when she was having a seizure, it was just very sad. So I brought her a toy so she could at least be in the hospital, to feel comfortable. You know what I mean? So that's what we do. That's who we are, little prodigies. So whatever you hear from these individuals about me or my wife or my business, you let them know who we really are. We care about our kids. We care about what we do, and the parents will vouch for that. And it just bothers me when a parent tells me about this video. But the good thing is that they know who we are, and they say, don't worry, we know who you are. And so if you're looking for a universal pre-K, daycare center, or after-school program for your child, a place that will love them like their own, treat them great, make sure that they succeed, because that's our thing. Of course, we want them to be safe. Little Prodigies is the place. That's what we love. So shout out to you, to student. She's doing better. She was back today. And so I was happy to see it. So folks, I'm very busy with that. I'm not just a house husband. I do a lot of things. So, just part of my day, along with trying to get my client's gas reconnected. Anybody know about that Con Ed moratorium? That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Vazquez. I'm the only one that's right for mayor. And you know that, John Peter. You want a real mayor. You want somebody that's going to really lead this city to the promised land. Go for Freddy Vazquez. How do you do that? You write my name. Al Vazquez. It's that simple. Write my name. Al Vazquez. Why? Because that is the only way we really have control of the election. Screw who they want us to vote for. We're going to write in the candidate. Even if it's Mickey Mouse. Brian, you clown. Have a beautiful day. No, I'm serious. Write-in candidate. Let's win with a write-in candidate. Folks, we have to take back the city.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vazquez.
I want to end this quick because I'm greedy and I want some of the butter chicken. So thank you.
In another one, Mr. Rumo lied to me. And I don't vote
For a person that lied to me. Thank you very much, Rubo. By the way, did you guys reinstate this senior? I saw Andrea Stewart Cousins coming to visit seniors at senior centers. I did comment on her page, hey, Miss Senator Cousins, one of the lovely seniors was suspended indefinitely because she spoke out on a community leader or community center leader who was stealing the money that they had raised through their fundraiser. They thought because the women were older, they weren't going to notice. They're sharp.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
I know how the fuck you think you are. If you want to play this game, you're going to lose it. I'll tell you right now.
I'm hoping that this is not true, Sammy. But I'm a councilwoman, so the capacity that I know you in, they may know you in a different capacity. I know you have a lot of women that work in your office. And I was also told that you favor some over others. Begging! You're one of them, begging!
Wow!
Yes!
Wow!
Freddy wins. Fatality.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddy Vazquez.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
I was raised in housing. I don't think you were. I went to Yonkers Public Schools. I don't think you did. We can go on all night with this, honey.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
No!